everyone, quick crystal video tutorial today. How to choose the right size of crystal for your working. Now, of course, this is general. These are just general guidelines. So trust the truth of your own experience, trust your own intuition, because for everyone, things can be different. But generally, when we're choosing, what size of crystal to work with, just keeping it in kind of really practical terms, it depends on how you're going to work with it. Are you going to, is your crystal for your space to affect the energy in your space? Is it a crystal you plan on wearing on yourself? Is it a crystal for crystal therapy or meditation? So I'm going to just touch on a few of these different things. A general guideline that came through, and this actually came through, I think this has come through in my channelings before with crystals, and this also came up recently in our Lightwalker program when I was channeling from Shungite. The general rule of thumb is for every inch of crystal, you've got about a foot's worth of energy in terms of energy coverage of the space. Now, again, this is highly general, but for instance, right here, I've got a Shungite pyramid that's got a 3-inch base. And so that gives me energy coverage for roughly about 3 feet. In fact, I'm feeling what might be even more than 3 feet. I am not spatially extremely aware, but that's going out pretty far there. Now, when we're talking about crystals and we're talking about crystals and crystal energy, crystals emit energy, and I don't think there's any real limit per se as to how far crystal energy emissions can go, but just in terms of their measurable impact, in terms of feeling their energy. If you are seeking to have a crystal in your space to help affect the energy in your space, you do generally need a larger crystal that is going to emit more energy into this space, further into the space, and cover a wider diameter, if you will, in terms of its reach, in terms of energy. So again, we've got a 5-inch in terms of diameter, a 5-inch cluster of apophyllite here, that is going to cover about 5 feet worth of space in my room. And again, just generally. So for instance, if you're a healer and you want to place apophyllite in your space to help emit and amplify healing energy and frequencies, as well as those of serenity and peace, you may choose to place this underneath your therapy table so that energy is going up around the therapy table as your client is lying on the therapy table. If you're choosing a crystal to wear throughout the day on a daily basis, you can go with smaller crystals. So this is a 1-inch tumbled watermelon tourmaline. And I generally, again, now another general rule of thumb is if you're wearing crystals on you for healing, to affect your energy, shielding, whatever it might be, I usually recommend that you try and keep it over the heart center. Place it over the heart center. The heart center is the bridge between our higher energy centers, our lower energy centers. It also helps to emit that crystal's energy out into the electromagnetic field, the natural electromagnetic field that surrounds our body, that's emitted by the heart. So it helps to put it into your full energy field, okay, the torus. That is our energy field that surrounds us, and spread that energy in. And because when we're wearing crystals, we usually have them on us for a longer period of time, you can work with a smaller crystal that's just steadily emitting this energy into your field, emitting this energy into your body and into your system, and providing healing work and healing support. I also tend to recommend working with or wearing polished or tumbled crystals only because that's more comfortable. But for some of us, we do find that working with rough crystals, we just feel the energy more strongly. It just feels more direct. It doesn't feel as softened as it might with a polished or tumbled crystal. And of course, again, there's tons of exceptions to this rule, especially if they're faceted into shapes that help direct or channel the energy. I find for crystal therapy, however, it's better to work with rough stones rather than the polished and tumbled. And again, this is just extremely practical. If you are placing crystals on a person's body, they can slip and slide on clothing or on rounded parts of the body. But if you've got the rough crystals, they tend not to move around as much. I also typically recommend for crystal therapy, and this is something I recommend in my Pro Crystal Healer course, I recommend that you work with crystals that are generally anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches when placing them on the body, because in crystal therapy, we're doing work for a shorter amount of time. It's usually quite intensive. It's usually quite specific. But you do also want to send a good amount of energy into the body. So I find that this size or smaller, to about 3/4 of an inch is good, and I typically recommend rough crystals. And for those of you who are interested, yes, my Pro Crystal Healer certification course, a crystal therapy, professional level crystal therapy certification course, is opening up again for enrollment in June. If you're doing meditation work, I generally like crystals that are more this sized. They oftentimes refer to them as palm sized. Here we're looking at about 2 inches to 3 inches. And I'm sorry, I'm not converting that into centimeters. But something that just sits very comfortably in the hand. You can go rough like a piece like this or smoothed. The palm chakras tend to take in and channel a lot of energy. They draw a lot of energy into the body. So when you're sitting in meditation, or even if you're watching television or you're on a Zoom meeting or, whatever it might be, you can hold a crystal in your receptive hand, take notes, change the channel, hold the phone, and keep receiving that healing energy. So, and again, reminder, for crystals at your space, at your desk, on the bedside table, wherever it might be, the larger crystals will emit more energy further, which will help to support you and affect the energy in that space. Now, there is a hack if you don't have bigger pieces or if you can't afford bigger pieces, which is to pair a smaller crystal with a quartz cluster. Quartz clusters help to amplify and magnify energy, and they can magnify that crystal's emission by 10. All right. And again, general rule of thumb, but if you have a smaller crystal, let's say it's only a 1-inch crystal, 1.5 inch, and you're only getting about a foot and a half in terms of spread, in terms of its energy, place it with a quartz cluster and you're going to get much more expansion of that energy. So again, just a general rule of thumb, but I hope that that's helpful to you. I hope that that's of service to you. I certainly get when you're new to crystals and new to the world of crystals, there's so much information, there's so many different opinions and different teachings. It can be, overwhelming and intimidating and a lot to kind of all take in. So this is just keeping it nice and simple, nice and practical. As I said, always honor the truth of your own experience, but in being able to engage with crystals energetically in different ways in your space, on your body, in meditation, however you're able to work them in, you're then able to connect more with their consciousness. You're able to build resonance, which can help you on a number of levels and help support you in your healing process and engage in that cycle of energy exchange with nature. So that's the video. Again, I do hope it was of service to you. You can certainly share or leave questions in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more about crystals from me and go deeper, you certainly can. I've got the Crystalline Academy. If you go to my website, krista-mitchell.com, I've got courses on divination, mediumship, professional level crystal therapy trainings, as well as courses on how to shield your energy and help to reclaim your sovereignty as an empath. So it's all there. You can check it out at krista-mitchell.com. And again, thank you so much for watching. I will be back with more crystal videos soon.